I think our camera is moving.
How can you tell?
The screen.
Ah.
Oh well. Okay, so you talking about like the STMs and everyone that Johnny and Friends takes a lot of time to set up
Yes.
to make this happen made me think of an article that it provided the perfect segue into our first topic, because this article on disabilityscoop.com is based on a family story who's they had, let me just pull it up so I make sure I get all the facts correct. Okay. This family had a son who was born with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, which is a rare and neurological disorder. Okay. It causes people to have an intellectual disability and also poor muscle coordination. So multiple things going on there, right?
Right.
Just like a Johnny and Friends, where it takes a lot of people to do to make it work and to make sure that you have fun and you're safe. When you have a child with a disability, and especially one with a physical disability or rare, it takes a lot of people to provide care for you,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And if we started listing people, it would take the whole show. So we won't do that here.
No.
But the article, it's a great, to me, it's a great read because it really highlights what goes on behind the scenes and what parents do to help their child live their life to the fullest potential, right?
Right.
And so article goes throughout, just giving some details, and then discusses palliative care. And I worked really hard because my accent does not allow me to really say that word correctly. And so that's the only time I'm going to say it because I nailed it.
Yeah, you did nail it.
Can you say it?
No.
Try it.
What was it?
Palliative.
Palliative.
There you go. Nailed it. Okay. So when we refer to palliative care, it is care beyond the typical medical care, right? These are different services that are brought in. These are different resources that are used to not only meet like the physical needs that you have during healthcare, but also uh, they're setting you up to make sure you have resources that allow you to live your life to its fullest potential. The issue is that these types of care are very few and far between, and they're really only limited to families who have the resources to get them, which I think is unfortunate because it shouldn't be a burden to have access to things that will help your child function and thrive.
Yes.
And then reading this article, and I want you to jump in, H. Reading this article made me really think back to everything that's happened with your head.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So this all began early on in your life. The first time it's always been serious, but the first time it really hit anything big was your sophomore year of high school. That's when you had the first surgery, right?
Right.
Can you tell us about that?
I really don't remember much of any of that at all. except I had teachers that came to our school when I got home, and that's all I really remember.
Yeah. That's a good thing to remember, right?
Right.
Because you had to start doing school at home in your
Yes.
immediate recovery, right?
Right.
Uh physically you were not able to go to school. You had fatigue. It was pretty serious.
Yes.
So that's a great example of resources coming to you to help you with your school, right?
Right.
Because if you didn't have that, you would have just missed a year and you probably would have had to done it over.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be fair because I've been missing graduation with my friends.
That's true. That's true. Do you remember having to shave your head?
Not really.
That's good. You had to shave your head like twice.
I really don't remember any of that.
That was when I lost it. I was good with everything, but they didn't have to shave your head for the first one, for the first surgery. But when you started having all the issues in recovery, that's when you when they were doing the shunts,
Yeah.
because there wasn't draining and the fluid was just continuing to build up. And that's when they had to shave your head. And I remember I came up to the hospital right after school, saw you with your shaved head, and I lost it. And that was really the first time that that it really hit me, right? So you spent a couple months in the hospital, multiple surgeries at that point. Then you get home, things are okay. Uh, a year later, you have to, yeah, because I was in college. This is my second semester of college. A year later, you have to have the first surgery done, redone.
Yes. Which was not fun.
It was not fun. It started the whole process over again. You recovered better this time, though. You didn't spend as much time in the hospital afterwards.
No.
Right.
Right.
And then flash forward 10 years, 12 years.
12 years probably.
Yeah, flash forward 12 years. And that's when oh,
New York.
yeah, yeah. You're continuing to have issues, right?
Right.
Fluid was not leaving like it was supposed to. You were still having swelling. The pressure was still there against the back of your brain. And so things just weren't working.
Mm-mm.
And so we had to bring in other people,
Yes.
outside of your typical care team, to evaluate you and to refer you and mom and dad to a different place for the correction, right?
Right.
And that's what led you to New York. Yeah. And we've talked about all these things in different ways. What I really want to highlight is how many people it takes for something like that to happen and how expensive it can be, right?
Right.
So for your Chiari malformation and the correction that it was needed and the revision, it took 100 people.
Really 100?
Close. If you think about all the nurses, all the doctors, and then once you get to New York, think about all of them,
Oh
right?
yeah. Probably about 100, maybe 100, 200.
And then all the follow-ups, all of the doctor's appointments. It takes a lot of coordination. And the unfortunate part is, in our world, that's not atypical, right? Like, how many friends and how many people do you know that spend a lot of their year in a hospital?
I don't know, but quite a few.
Quite a few. Yeah. We have people having surgeries all the time, corrections all the time. And it's all built around helping you thrive,
Yes.
right? Because we want you to get the most out of your life that you can. How does that make you feel that that many people are invested in your life?
I love it having those many people in my life. Like as an example, like if I got sick at the preschool and we can't get anybody, people from church will come and get me and take me to dad or home or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And just from a professional side, like that piece alone, like if you weren't with Dr. Medford and she wasn't um as connected as she was, who knows where it would have ended up. Ultimately, you may have still ended up in New York, but this is the power of referrals and building these relationships. So that way, when something extreme does pop up, or something additional is needed, you have people in your space that can point you in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to say people from church because they help us quite a bit.
Yeah. That's fine. It's your show. You can say what you want for the most part.
Church and family.
Oh, that's good. And it's something we wanted to highlight. So encourage you to go read this article and um, learn a bit more about some of the processes and some of the structures that are available if and when you can access them.
Thanks for coming to Haley's Weekly News. Please love, like, subscribe, and comment. And we'll probably see y'all guys next week.